Have you ever prayed for something, worked for it, tried to align yourself with it, and either you got it and it just didn't hit the way you thought it would, or you're still waiting on it? Then yes, this is the episode for you. This is the episode for people who are struggling because you're in this place of in between. You're in between who you thought you were and who you thought you'd be by now. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Save with a Twist podcast. First and foremost, happy International, I guess we can call it Women's History Month, because we're not just, going to ignore the women who were overseas, but happy Women's History Month, y'all. And let's get into this, because I don't know if you're like me or my friends who I've been talking to, because they are actually the ones who inspired this episode. But we're talking about outgrowing who it is you prayed to be. Now, some of us, we prayed to be millionaires, prayed to be, just further along than what you thought in life. Like maybe some of us have outgrown our old prayers. Now, this one, I don't think any of us have outgrown it, but it is what it is. We've outgrown that praying for peace. Some of us have, but it shows up in a different way. Like, I'm always praying for peace. Right now, peace in the Middle East. Some of us have prayed for growth, and now some of the old spaces and things that we've done they feel uncomfortable to us. Some people I've talked to have prayed to be stronger, and now they have, I don't want to say a hardened shell, but it takes a lot more to make them cry than it did in the past. And some of us have prayed for, better relationships. And now we are more alone than we ever thought we would ever be. Now, please tell me in the comments some of the prayers that you used to pray, but now it's like, I've kind of outgrown that. So drop in the comments. I would love to hear them. And honestly, there are some prayers that we've prayed that we are still waiting on. And honestly, there are some of us who have thought about the prayers that we've prayed, and we actually may not want the same thing that we've been praying about. We may not want it anymore. And that's okay, because guess what? That's this horrible thing that we call adulthood. Because as I say all the time, and I said it to my friends and coworkers yesterday, adulting is ghetto. But as I have been talking to my friends and some coworkers, we kind of got on this subject of when you get what you prayed for, but it feels different. So let's dive into that a little bit. You remember how I was saying, some of us pray for peace, some don't anymore. But how about when you pray for peace and, I don't want to say you're living in a chaotic space, but you may have. But praying for peace, and then realizing that peace is extremely quiet, it's not loud. And sometimes that peace can be lonely, because I don't know about anybody. Now, this is for the saints and the ain'ts. I don't know how you feel, but for those of us who pray, if we ask God to remove somebody who should not be in our life, He does it so quickly that I promise you FedEx and UPS could never compete with how quickly He moves somebody. Okay? Then some of us, we've prayed for maturity. And with that prayer, now you don't get to enjoy certain conversations anymore. You don't get to pop off the way that you want to. Because trust me, there are so many times that I would love to, but I just be like, you know what? It's not even worth the energy nor the effort. And for some of us who have volatile tempers or used to have volatile tempers, we're praying to be a lot less reactive. And now you don't argue anymore. And you don't chase people down to have a conversation. You don't chase people down even to correct people, especially if they've done you wrong, because, hey, we know it happens. And now, mind you, I'm going to say this. Most of the people I've been talking to, are millennials in the millennial age range. And something else that it just kind of dawned on me is like, not that we prayed about it, but they tell you, be strong. Everything's going to work out just fine. As many crises if we've gone through, because it just seems like it's gotten worse since Y2K. It really does. Now, y'all are saying be strong, but honestly, the general consensus is people are tired. We're trying to set boundaries, and when you have them, people don't like them. Though they have boundaries for themselves, but they don't like it when you set it for you. And I'm gonna be honest with you, that does not mean that you are wrong. It means that you're evolving, and some people just cannot handle that. Because if I'm being real honest, growth is cute on Pinterest, but in real life, it is so uncomfortable and so very, very isolating. But what can you do? Now, then we had, the other end of the spectrum of we've prayed about it, we've worked towards it, and it still hasn't happened yet. Let's talk about it. Now, a lot of us, myself included, prayed to be married with kids, the elusive American dream, 2.5 children, a dog, picket fence. I would want a cat versus a dog. But that's what, you've prayed for. And look at us, still just as single as we want to be. And honestly, this is for me. I can't speak to nobody else's situation. I prayed for marriage, but I was not ready for it because I had a horrible attitude, and I was like, it's my way or the highway. I had no compromise, no give. However, now, totally different story. But honestly, a lot of times that prayer for marriage, we get that instilled in us so young. Oh, you need to be married to do X, Y, and Z. And some people tell their daughters and sons and all of that, get married is going to be great. What you need to be telling them is to get to know yourself before you even try to include somebody else in the chaos that is you. But we'll move on from that. Then let's talk about, we're trying to have some career elevation. And you get overlooked even though you're doing all the work. You're the one that's training the people that comes in, but they're in the managerial position and you're not. Make it make sense. It does not make sense. And honestly and truly, some of us, we want the career elevation, but we end up in positions that we did not want, but you're just there for the pay because of life. Yeah, I'm being very honest about this because I've had the conversations with my peeps. Then we're definitely praying for financial stability. Everybody, whether you believe or don't, saint or ain't, you want to be financially stable. And you're still having to budget so creatively because bills are always at a rate of inflation that makes absolutely no sense, especially living here in the United States of America. And then what happens when you're praying to be healed? And I don't just mean healed like emotionally or whatever. What about health-wise? Like, let's be real, like people who have diseases, cancer, things like that. And you're praying or manifesting. I don't know where you sit with that. And you're still battling this disease. What happens? It's like, how do I keep my trust and my faith in God when you're not talking to me? Or if you're, that's for the saints. If you're ain't, no offense to you, I got you too. How do you keep moving forward without becoming a cynical, bitter person? And truthfully, this is not about blaming God or blaming yourself. It's just that horrible, horrible thing of our expectations versus reality. And truthfully, nobody really talks about that awkward middle where, you've been doing the work, you've been doing everything, you've been showing up for yourself, but none of them results show up. It's real stupid. And then, of course, what do we have? We have social media out there that just makes you feel like you're not doing enough. Caveat, twist for the day. You are doing enough. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to do. Because honestly, we see cute engagement photos for those, who want to be married and you're feeling envious. I don't feel envious anymore because honestly, I'd be like, are they beating each other up? Because some people I know that have gotten engaged, I want them to run as far as they possibly can from each other because they're both going to end up in prison or dead. Because some people fight, but they still want to be with each other. You see people getting their promotions, especially if you are on LinkedIn. You see everybody celebrating like, oh, I got this position here, I got this position there. And it could have been a job that you applied for and somebody else got it, but you really wanted it. And those results didn't show up. Or what if you want a little bundle of joy and you see somebody announcing they're having a baby? And especially for some women, I know that hurts them, especially if they cannot have children. And all I'm going to say is, sis, it's all right. Become the best rich auntie that you can, or go adopt a baby. That's all I got to say. Or what if you desire to purchase your own home and you see people closing or houses, and social media will have you feeling green with envy. And it's just like, hold on, no. I'm being consistent. I'm doing all the things that I'm supposed to do. So where is mine at? And that's okay. It's okay to have that feeling. Just don't take it too far. All right. And I will say this. A lot of times, I don't feel like we're outgrowing what we prayed for. It's just that what we prayed for is not on the timeline that we wanted. Because truthfully, for me, I thought I would have got married in my 20s. I thought I was going to be done with law school by 24, married by 27, first baby by 30, second baby by 33. Yeah, like I had all of that planned out in my head. And real honest with you, when I reached the age of 25 and all the things that I had planned did not happen, it took me a minute to get over that hurt of the expectation that I set for myself. But the reality was I was never meant to be in that space because my true calling was to help other people. And crazily enough, I did not realize that in my 20s. I really didn't realize that until probably like the panorama, because you had nothing else to do. So you had a lot of soul searching. For those who did not have to go into the workforce for a while, you did a lot of soul searching. And I realized what I needed to do. But I was in my 30s then. So yeah, I'm like, it doesn't work out like the way that I thought it was going to be. And sometimes it's not, like I said, you're not outgrowing the prayer, you're outgrowing the timeline that you set. And then, we have other people who like salary. It's going to be a lawyer. So I'm sitting here thinking I'm going to be making so much money. I'm going to be able to take care of my whole family. Yeah, lawyers make a lot of money, but it costs a lot of money to become a lawyer. If you don't know, most law schools is $200,000 to go to law school, and that's no guarantee that you're going to pass the bar or even make it through law school. Then let's talk about, I had a friend, we were talking about emotional maturity, and she was talking about how far she's come. She doesn't fight nor argue with people anymore, and she has so much grace to give people. And I thought that was a very, very interesting thing because for me, y'all, I ain't even gonna lie, grace, I didn't have any for anybody. And I'm not saying that because this is Saved with a Twist and I'm saved and I have my twist. I just didn't have grace for people because I was like, do better. But now I'm learning to give grace to people because honestly, some people do not know any better. But that's neither here nor there. And I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know if I want to talk about this or this just needs to be an episode on its own. Because today's episode, we're just talking about it. This is not giving steps on how to. Maybe I will. Who knows? But the version of yourself that you thought you would be, what was it? Like seriously, stop, think about it. What version did you think you would be? Like by this age, did you think you would be in the career that you want, be married with kids, or what was it? And now look at yourself and say, am I where I actually want to be? Or am I just lingering in this limbo of whatever? Because sometimes it happens. You grow so much and you don't really have a conversation with yourself to say, hey, what I wanted before, I no longer want now. That's not who I am. That's not what I want. None of that. And I want to tell you this. It is okay to change your mind. Because I had a conversation and I can't really remember because it was that long ago. But somebody was like, well, you told me that you wanted X, Y, and Z. And I said, at the time that I told you, I was fully believing that. And as time went on, as I learned more, as I grew more as a person, I no longer wanted that. And I feel like that's where you get some emotional maturity, you get some wisdom, you get some growth, and you also get grace because you learn to say, hey, what I told you before may have been true. At that moment, it was true. But now I've thought about it, I've changed some, and I no longer want that. And that no longer suits me as a person. And I'm going to be honest with you because, like I tell y'all, I'm a Black woman. I can only speak from the Black woman experience and my Black woman experience. A lot of times we are taught to find a position, find a career, stick to it, don't waste time, get in there, make your money. But what I want to say, not even just for Black women, but millennials, Gen X, if you're listening, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha, we not even talking to y'all. We got to talk baby talk. But what I want to tell you is don't waste your time on trying to make sure that other people are okay with the decisions that you make, because it's your life. You have to live it for you. Don't choose wrong when it comes to people or careers. If you need to take your time, take your time. But I don't mean take your time to the point that you're not doing anything at all. Take your time to really think it over, really think it through. And if you decide, hey, I want to go and do whatever. I'm like, if you want to go and, build buildings, then go do that. And as I'm going to say this, just for the Black community as a whole, they tell us, don't let people see you struggle publicly. I agree to a certain extent, but sometimes if you're struggling, you need to reach out and say, I need help. And sometimes if you see somebody struggling, yes, you talking to you directly, loves, help them. Just ask them, how can I help? Now, if they say I need a financial whatever, guide them to somebody else. You do not give them folks no type of money. Now, it's different if you see an unhoused person and they got to sign up for the mission. That's different. That's when I choose to give whatever. Though I do have stipulations on that because this is a weird thing, but hey, this is saved with a twist. If I see an unhoused person with clean shoelaces, to me, you are not unhoused. You are just out here playing with people. Just think about it. Because if you are unhoused, why do you have clean shoelaces? I'll just leave that there for you. But as I was saying, don't struggle alone. That's what I should say. Just don't struggle alone. Sometimes you need your tribe. And your tribe doesn't necessarily have to be your family. It can be friends who have become family. Friends who will, tell you when you're right, tell you when you're wrong, and uplift you and strengthen you whenever you need it. Because truthfully, life is not going to always align with the blueprint that you set out. And you begin to feel like a failure. But guess what? You're not a failure. You didn't miss your timeline. Because honestly, you don't know yourself as a kid when you decide to make these decisions. Some people stick to it. Other people find another passion later in life. You didn't mess up about it. It's just going the way that it's supposed to go. And honestly, at certain points, you will evolve past that version of yourself, that 10-year-old version that says, I want to be a basketball player. Maybe you can't be a basketball player. Not to say, short kings be having issues, but they can get out there and ball, but you don't really have the talent to play. Like I had a coworker yesterday say, he's like, I love my nephew, but my nephew sucks at basketball. And he's like, that is his dream. He's like, I really want him to find something else to do. Hey, valid, because if you're not good, you're not good. And we don't have parents like Serena Williams' dad, well, Serena Venus's dad. We don't have parents anymore like Joe Jackson, because if we did, y'all are calling CPS on us to come take our kids because you're like, oh, that's abuse. No, sometimes you have to train greatness into people. Like even with what's that girl's name? Beyonce. Matthew knows them play. Y'all get in here and practice and sing, and y'all do all this. Yes, they have talent, but I'm going to push you to get you to where you are. And now, look at her out here selling out arenas. And kudos to y'all to go, because baby, I can't afford her at all. I can listen, but I can't afford going to a concert. But I mean, it happens. And honestly, truly, like I said, sometimes times change. And the world is moving faster, because never in a million years did I think I would be an author, podcast host, have my own YouTube channel. When I was growing up, none of these things existed. Like, I grew up in the 90s. Podcasting, I don't know when it came about, but it definitely wasn't really happening. In the 90s, you had a radio show, which I guess was like the precursors to podcasts. But YouTube wasn't around. Google wasn't around. None of this was around when I was a child. So I was like, lawyer, because they had safe jobs. And these jobs are, what is the best way to say it? They're a risk. Let's say it like that. You have to put out your content. You have to market yourself. You have to do all of these things versus having just stable income when you show up to a place. And honestly, like I said, the world moves faster now. When I was a kid, if they had this, I probably would have been on this. But honestly, when YouTube came out, I was so concerned about like not sharing my personal life, even though I only give y'all a little smidge of what happens in my life on this podcast. But if you check out my YouTube channel, I also just give you a little smidge. But as life is going to go on, I'm probably going to start sharing more and all the great and wonderful jazz. This is a shameless plug. Go check out the YouTube channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're already on YouTube channel. Just subscribe. But back to the topic at hand. Truthfully, like I said, life doesn't always align with your blueprint. You will have to do revisions of yourself, revisions of your thoughts. And I know it's going to feel like punishment. It's going to feel like failure, but it's not. It's just preparation for what you need to do, what you need to accomplish. Now, I'm not trying to sound real preachy or tell you to go get your life together. I'm not, because life be life, and sometimes you just got to roll with the flow. But I will say this. You are just simply, as you're continuously reframing yourself, reworking your vision, you're just truly becoming the person that you were honestly meant to be. And I don't want to make this a long podcast that you're bored to tears. However, I will just say this as I'm getting ready to wrap this up. You are not the same person who was praying those prayers or trying to manifest the things that you're trying to manifest at 25. If you are 25, enjoy it, babes. You are the person who maybe prayed for marriage and you didn't get it. That does not mean that you're desperate for anybody. You are the person who desires success. That does not make you shallow. Okay? Does not make you shallow. And you're the person who wants peace. And wanting peace and disconnecting from those who cause you chaos and harm is not weak. If anything, you are the strongest person in the world for that. However, I want you to know, no matter if you're praying about it, if you're manifesting it to the universe, whatever, just know that you got this. You can wait on it. Don't despair if it has not happened, even if it's been over 10 years that you've been praying and manifesting for something and it has not happened. It will happen. But sometimes everything has to align perfectly for it to become yours. You're not behind. You're not foolish for believing that. You are simply evolving into the person that you should have always become, whether you're praying about it or not. And maybe you didn't outgrow who you prayed to be. Maybe you're honestly and truly still becoming that person. And it's just not on the timeline that you wrote down. I'll catch y'all next week here at Save with the Twist podcast.